Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's February 4th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery here. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon. Check out our storm system yesterday now, moving across the Rockies, bringing some high winds across portions of Montana out there as we speak. Right now we've got another frontal system bearing down on the Pacific Northwest here, then another storm system out across the Pacific Ocean here headed our way as well. We'll take a look at what those systems will bring us in terms of impacts, and we'll also look at the extended forecast as always. And taking a look at yesterday's peak winds, Whidbey Island, the winner at 68, Lopez, Hoquiam, 58 miles per hour. Plenty of areas up over 50. You can see Friday Harbor 54, Bellingham 51. SeaTac clocking in at 46, Painfield 45. I had 42 at my house here just west of SeaTac here. So pretty windy day there yesterday. This is the northwest Oregon coast, including southwest Washington. Cape Disappointment 63. The Highway 101 bridge 65. Astoria 53. Some 60s and upper 60s all the way down the Oregon coast. Might have been justified putting out a high wind warning here. I know people like to be alerted of this here, and they don't have wind advisories, so it's kind of a tricky forecast here. You move north on the coastline there, and you get Seattle National Weather Service putting out some wind advisories. And Oregon doesn't do that, Portland National Weather Service. So it's kind of a confusing message out there. But anyway, taking a look here at current hazards, winter weather advisories across some of the Blue Mountains back towards the Cascades, Montana as well. High wind warnings in effect out there. Also, Washington relatively quiet right now. But looking at this, you can see Spokane National Weather Service talking about the snow coming in for the Cascades, including Stevens Pass, Lookout Pass down to the Blue Mountains here, I-84 as you go across those Blue Mountains down there. So heads up that for some winter driving conditions through Monday morning. Nice graphic here from National Weather Service Spokane. Now here we go. You've probably heard about this Mount Washington deal going on here. Very cold up there. High winds, chilly temperatures. To be an understatement here, gust 127 miles per hour, wind chills well below 100 there, and you can kind of see the temperatures dropping off there. But pretty extreme conditions up there, and you've probably heard the term stratosphere here with this coming through the area there. And the stratosphere lies here. When we start to warm the atmosphere back up as we go aloft, that's considered the stratosphere here. We live in the troposphere down here, where the temperature generally drops as you increase with height. So Mount Washington right here may have been peaking into the stratosphere a little bit here as that huge polar lobe moved down across the area there. Now, taking a look at this is usually a threat for airline pilots who fly above the tropopods there. You can get high ozone concentrations up there, but we have something called scrubbers that are on all new planes, and so it reduces the amount of ozone in the cockpit there and keeps those pilots safe. So, technically you could have been exposed to that if you were on the top of Mount Washington yesterday. But again, your biggest threats are going to be from the wind and the cold temperatures up there. And it takes a while, long exposure usually, to be, affected by high levels of ozone anyway. But here's the map of that. There's Mount Washington there, kind of near that Maine border here. As you can see, Maine, the Great Lakes are here. Now taking a look here, this is what dropped down over them. If I put this into motion here, you can kind of see that polar lobe that opened up on top of them there. The atmosphere very thin, and that's why the talk of that stratosphere getting all the way down towards Mount Washington was in the media there, as you probably heard about that. I'm getting some questions about that. You probably saw that in some of the social media posts yesterday. But anyway, back to the Pacific Northwest here. You can see the frontal system moving towards the Pacific Northwest here. Going to bring some rain, some pretty good mountain snows all the way down through California, Oregon, across Washington, the Blue Mountains here as we go on in through Monday morning. Then another system coming through here has a little bit of an atmospheric river look to it here, but it is fairly progressive. We're moving along in 3-hour chunks here, so it's not going to hang out too long across any given area, but it's probably still going to qualify as an atmospheric river across some portions here, but it should be mostly beneficial, especially because we're going to get a lot of this to fall as snowfall for the higher terrain as well. Now looking at this is that frontal system we saw again on the infrared satellite imagery here. Some decent winds with it moving up across the area. It's not going to be as windy as the last system though. And then you see this northwest flow bringing some nice snowfall amounts across the Cascades here. And then we're going to bring that next system in here. Some gusty winds are possible as we go on in through the day, Monday night to Tuesday morning, but not as windy as what we just went through there on the day yesterday. Now this is looking at max 10 meter wind gust here. You see some gusts up into low mid 40s, maybe again for Whidbey Island here. And this is all the way through Tuesday afternoon shown here. Typical stuff on the coastline, nothing unlike what they're not used to out there. Gusts up around 40 miles per hour. Maybe some blustery conditions as we move these frontal systems through the Puget Sound here over the next few days as well, down to Willamette Valley, a little blustery as well, but nothing too crazy here in the short term coming up. This is the NAM 3KM, just kind of highlighting those wind speeds across the northwest interior to southwest BC as well. Not too big of a deal. This is Quileute Airport. You can see that next system moving through here as we go on and through Monday night, Tuesday morning, just gusts up into the 40s here. Not a big deal, right? Bellingham, I mean, some of these ensembles are a little bit stronger here. Something to watch here. So we'll watch this come in over the next couple of days as well and try to see if these wind speeds start to increase here on the forecast. Seattle, Tacoma, just kind of a blustery day here. Gusts into the 30s as the frontal system moves through. Now I'm showing this yesterday. This is showing yesterday's windstorm. And I talked about the European underdoing some of these wind speeds here. You can see this ensemble mean up around the mid to upper 30s here. And we got 46 SeaTac, and only about 5 of those ensembles picked up that kind of speed here. So it's just kind of a pattern here with the European. It's not that the wind speeds or the forecast is bad. It's just kind of underdoing these speeds generally here across the area. So just something to remember as we go on into the future with these European forecast wind speeds. Now taking a look here, total precipitation here. This is last night's run, the 06Z European. This is 10 p.m. Put that into motion. There goes our first system there. Another system's going to move through. You know, nothing too crazy. Actually targeting Oregon a little bit better with some of this precipitation in BC, Vancouver Island here. But as we go on into Monday, another system will roll through here as well. So it's not overly rainy here over the next 90 hours or so for the Puget Sound. Starts to pick up a little bit more here as we go on in through the day Tuesday. But you can see big amounts for some of the Cascades, the coastal range up through BC as well. A lot of that's going to fall as snowfall, so that'll be beneficial here as we're actually dropped a little bit below average for this time of the year as far as snowfall is concerned across much of the Cascades here. So this will be beneficial coming up here. You can see some bullseye amounts here across the Blue Mountains here of Washington and Oregon also. Now this is looking at the total snow could share. We're just going to run this out all the way through 90 hours here. Some big amounts coming across the Cascades of Washington, Oregon. Not bad. Like I said, beneficial. And no lowland snow events coming up here in the next 4 days. Now, taking a look here, this is the Blue Mountains. I wanted to kind of point this out. You guys probably always see me run these snow maps, and you can kind of see why those snow totals fall here along northeast Oregon. You can kind of see that higher terrain that inches into Washington there, just kind of east of Walla Walla there, east of Pendleton there, and you can see the higher terrain kind of include I-84, La Grande there, through Oregon, Baker City, just coming out of the mountains there, just south of Lewiston, Pullman, there's Moscow, Idaho there, and there's Spokane there. So those are the Blue Mountains here, and that's why you see those higher snowfall totals almost always along this portion of northeast Oregon into south Washington there. And you can see Idaho's pretty high terrain as well until you get down to I-84 here with Boise. You've got Twin Falls down here. You've got Pocatello over here. You can kind of see the freeway and the highways running through that area here and the higher terrain out here across Idaho on into western Montana. So just kind of showing you guys some terrain features there. And you can see the lowlands of the Puget Sound and the Willamette Valley here with mountains all around us everywhere, really. Now taking a look here, the extended forecast, you got the European ensemble mean on the left, you got the GFS ensemble mean on the right. This is last night's runs here. If I put this into motion here, you can see that next frontal system rolling through. Then the next system bearing down here. The European a little bit more aggressive with that as we go on in through early week, next week here. And then the ridge kind of builds here and drops off some energy down towards California here as we start going on down through the extended forecast. Well, watch this. Looks like some ridge building trying to occur here off the Pacific Northwest. We'll see how this goes. But then kind of dropping down a cooler system here, if you notice this, as we go on into the extended. So this will be something to watch here to see how this develops here. How persistent will this ridge be? How much cold air will we allow into the region here? All good questions and something we will need to monitor into the future here as we look like we're going to be kind of chillier than normal. You see that good agreement between the GFS and the European here on the left with that cooler than normal air across the Pacific Northwest as we start to move on into mid-February. And it starts to get increasingly difficult to get snow events into the lowlands once you cross about February 15th. It still can happen. It just becomes much more difficult at that time of year. So yeah, we got the system coming in here. We got another one hot on its heels here. And then we'll just continue to watch that extended forecast and see what that chillier than normal pattern on in through the extended, how that evolves and what we can expect from that. But anyway, yeah, I'll probably do a California video today because there's going to be a decent storm moving down through California as well. So I'll probably go ahead and work on that next. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.